Hi community of awesome, I'm Ava J and this is Bookish Pixie. So for the last 3 weeks we've talked about all sorts of considerations you want to remember when creating the world of your book, all of which I'll link to below. And this week we're continuing with the 4th and final vlog about how to put it all together. So you've got all these details of the world of your book, but how do you write it in a way that doesn't look like a massive info dump? This is a complicated question that can quickly become overwhelming. How much do you include and when do you include it? For your opening scene, what you want to remember is only to include what the readers need to know in order to understand the opening of your book. So what you want to ask yourself is what is essential for your readers to know in order to understand what's going on in those first couple pages. So for example, in Beyond the Red, the book opens with Eros, and it was essential for readers to know right away that the book doesn't take place on Earth, that it's a desert setting, and that there are humans and aliens on this planet. So I tried to accomplish all of that on the first page, and I'm going to read it aloud to you guys so you get an idea as to how I slipped the information in without being an info dump. So here we go, page 1 of Beyond the Red. My brother just killed me. Again. I know because I wake with a knife to my throat and the cool barrel of a phaser pressed against my forehead. Good morning to you too. Blazing sun's day, I murmur, rubbing the grogginess from my eyes. If a Sephiron soldier manages to find camp while I'm sleeping, I accept I'm dead, okay? Now let me rest. I'm ready for some kind of snappy comment about how I'm dead twice now. When I'm too tired for days' drills, he sometimes mock kills me in 6 or 7 different ways before launching into his "the aliens won't let you rest" spiel. But it doesn't come. Maybe I should apologize for not taking him seriously, but it's hard to be amped up all the time over such a distant threat. Most of us haven't even seen a Sephiron, let alone come close enough to have to fight one, even if Day insists we'll eventually have to. Still, the quiet is unlike him. I lower my hands and peer into the darkness of the tent. It must be earlier than I thought, because the suns haven't risen yet. A shadowy figure cloaked in black stands over me. Silence twists through my chest. The hiss of shifting sand nearby sets my pulse racing. There are others here. And since when does Day wear a cloak? So the things I wanted to accomplish: establish we're not on Earth, establish there are humans and aliens, and establish they're in the desert. I did that by referencing more than one sun, which indicates we're not on Earth, and also referencing the Sephiron, which are not a native species to Earth, and also by referencing the shifting sand near the end of the page. Those are all really little details. There's no info dump about how humans came to Safada. There isn't a whole lot of information about who the Sephiron are exactly, but we know they're aliens because they're referenced to as aliens, and that's about it to begin with. And we don't know where exactly they're in the desert, or the name of the desert, or anything like that. The reason I didn't include those details from the beginning is because the reader doesn't need to know that in order to understand the opening. The key to world building is to slip in what the readers need to know a little bit at a time. Maybe there's a little sprinkle of world building and some dialogue, and then there's a little sprinkle of world building and some description. Maybe there's a pinch of world building in your character's thoughts, and then another pinch of world building in what your characters eat. The idea is that you integrate that information into the action so that you never stop the story in order to talk about the world. You want a strong visual painting of what the world looks like, and you want a fully fleshed out world, but you don't do that by throwing all the information at the readers at once. Instead, you spread it consistently throughout the story. You can establish your world building through dialogue, description, action, and thought. So make sure that you use all the avenues available to you to slowly build your world up a little bit at a time. And the last thing I want you to remember is you do not have to tackle it all at once. I find that it can be really overwhelming if I try to tackle all the world building while I'm first drafting, for example, or even in just a single round of revisions. The idea is to spread it out so that I can tackle the world building a little bit at a time and it never feels like a mountain of work. I find that by focusing on one or a couple elements at a time, it never feels like too much work because I'm not trying to tackle everything at once. Instead, I can make sure that those elements are fully established before I move on to the next ones. So that's all I got for today. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to subscribe and comment, and I'll see you guys next week.